Hello, my name is Cody McNulty, and I'm going to be talking to you about physical activity for all. So, the main thing I want to get across real quick is the differences in definition between physical activity and exercise. As on the PowerPoint, you can see that physical activity is defined as any bodily movement produced by skeletal muscles that results in energy expenditure. The energy can be measured in kilocalories. Physical activity in daily life can be categorized into occupational, sports, conditioning, household, or other activities. Again, for the definition of exercise, exercise is a subset of physical activity that is planned, structured, repetitive, and has a final or intermediate objective, the improvement or maintenance of physical fitness. Physical fitness is a set of attributions that are either health or skill related. So again, that's just a quick definition of what we're going to go through. So I'm mainly going to be talking about physical activity, and as the title of my PowerPoint suggests, we're going to be talking about physical activity for all. By all, I mean all ages, all types of people. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to start out with kids. So when I say kids, I mean preschool age 3 to 5 years. Now those kids aren't going to be going to the gym with you. They're not going to be lifting weights. They're not going to be trying to hit these main goals. We just need them to be active. So by active, I mean playing. They need to be running around. They need to be chasing each other. They need to be using their brains to try to figure things out. The more activity they get, the better they are. The more they sleep, which helps you as a parent and helps them kind of, not be as crazy as, as kids usually are. Now we're going to move on to teens. So by teens, we're going through age range of 16 to 17. So these are what I call the growth years for the body. So this is when everything in your body is starting to get to the point to where it's done developing and it's growing. But right now in this point, it's going through its main growth process. Kids are hitting puberty. Kids are getting taller, stronger, bigger, skinnier. And the purpose of all that and why physical activity is so important is that we want to lay a good foundation for your body. So a lot of things we use in the chiropractic world, what I use is I say, you can't build a straight house on a crooked foundation. Well, this is you setting your foundation. This is when you're developing your bone mass, you're getting your muscles stronger, you're trying to see how flexible you are. You want a good foundation, you want good health, good exercise, and again, this will lead to habits in adults, which is very important. A lot of what we're seeing is that inactive kids and teens lead to inactive adults, and that's not where we want to be. We want to be an active adult. And what I mean by this is, even for these teens, they don't need to go in the weight room and walk out looking like, Brock Lesnar or, just really big, strong people. They just need to be active. They need to be, exercising. As you can read on the PowerPoint, it calls for 1 hour of moderate to vigorous physical activity daily. Most of the 60 minutes or more per day should either be moderate or vigorous physical activity, which should include vigorous, intense physical activity on at least 3 days a week. So that means 3 days a week for an hour, you need to be doing something it's by what we mean by aerobic is, it's got to get your breath going. It's got to get you, not really tired from lifting up a bunch of stuff, but you're going to get sweating. Your heart rate's got to get up. That's very important for your overall health and for your body to kind of clean itself up. This also does recommend muscle strengthening, which is very important. It should be part of their 60 minutes or more of physical activity. Children and adolescents should include muscle strengthening at least 3 days a week. Another is bone strengthening. So how we get bone strengthening is by weight-bearing exercise. So that's just anything you do that is putting pressure on the bones, which when you're at this age, pressure on the bones is good. So like running, jumping, moving stuff, building fence, all these different types of things cause your bones to get stronger. And again, with the foundation, you build stronger bones when they're young. It leads to stronger bones when they're older. So all of this is very important, not for now. It is for now, but it can also help you as you get older. And while it's important, for your kids to do this and your teens, they're really not going to see it. They're not going to be thinking, down the line. It's for you as parents, as grandparents, as friends and family members to try to not trick, but trick them into seeing the importance of this, because they're not going to see it at first. And as being an adult, as being somebody who's has some experience, some wisdom through the years, that it is worth doing little things early on so that way you can benefit in your later years. It's all going to be worth it, and that's the same with exercise. And again, during these growth years, that's why it's so important. Next, we're going to move on to adults. So adults is another very important age. It might not be your your growth years, but we're fighting off some of those early aging processes this time. This is also the time when we're some of us are the most unhealthy. We're working 40 plus hours a week at a job where we just sit all day and we type all day, and we're stressed, so we're eating food that's not good for us, and we can we have a mortgage, we have house payments, we have kids we have to deal with. All this can just hit you all at once. It can stress you, it can bog you down, and then the stress can just keep adding and adding and adding. And for adults, this is one way we can combat the stress. As you can see on the PowerPoints, for substantial health benefits, adults should do at least 150 minutes, 2 hours and 30 minutes to 5 hours a week of moderate intensity exercises. Again, that is, moderate intensity. You should be kind of out of breath, but you shouldn't be dying. You should be able to continue on, but you can feel it a little bit, you can feel the burn. Adults should also do muscle strengthening activities of moderate or greater intensity that involves 2 muscle groups on 2 more days a week. So for example, you just don't want to go into the gym one day and do curls all one day and then do chest the next day. You need to be hitting 2 muscle groups, but these guidelines say you only need to do those about 2 or more days a week. A lot of time, this is people who exercise in adults. This is where people kind of lose some of it. They either go hardcore to the left or hardcore to the right. And what I mean by that is, to the left, you're going to go and you are going to only do that muscle strengthening exercise. Everyone you see in the gym, is always doing bench, always doing curls, always trying to lift all this heavy weight, which that is good, but you still need some of that aerobic, that running, that people call it cardio exercise. That is still important, like I said earlier, to help clean up the system. And then if you go too far to the right, you have people who run all the time, who run miles and miles a day, who do all this, but they don't do any strengthening exercises, and that is bad for you as well. So for example, if you just lift weights all the time, you're going to get kind of stiff and you're not going to be able to move around, and that leads to one, you not being able to move correctly. It also leads to stiffness and tightness when you're older. But for example, on the other side, for people who run all the time, they're all loose, they don't really have much strength, they just have a bunch of endurance, so they get ankle injuries, knee injuries, foot injuries, everything, because they don't have any strength. And so you need both strength and mobility, so you need to be able to do both of these things in order to continue to be healthy, in order to combat some of the stress that we put on our everyday lives. And now we have the wise ones. So this is the stage where we can really stay forever young. This is the stage where we are in our wise years. Some say the golden years, but we're at our wisest years. We're seeing the benefits of everything. We're seeing how our previous life is affecting us now. And again, for the elderly population, this is very important, because it's important for this population to keep up with their grandkids. That's what a lot of people want to do. They want to keep up. They don't want to be a burden. They don't want to slow down. They want to stay independent. All this is very important to them, and it's very important to us, and for you who are listening, to see the importance in this, because a little bit of physical activity can help this elderly population stay independent. It can help them stop from falls. It can help them be a little bit more stronger, be a little bit more mobile, not be as rigid, be able to catch themselves a little bit better. And some of the guidelines, these elderly patients aren't going to be going to the gym 5 times a week, lifting a ton of weights and running 70 miles. While, we see those outliers, but that's not the case for the everyday people. Older adults should determine their level of effort for physical activity related to their level of fitness. So if you know that you haven't done anything in 10, 15, 20 years, you're not going to go up to the bench press, put all the weight in the room on, and start doing it a million times. You need to ease your way into it. You don't want to get hurt, and you don't want to delay this, so you got to slowly ease your way into it. So it says on this, and the links to it are going to be below. But when older adults cannot do 150 minutes of moderate intensity aerobic activity a week because of chronic conditions, they should be physically active as their abilities and conditions allow. So this is, for those, those people out there who have some serious problems that there's nothing we can do about. They still need to be active, but we need to be able to limit ourselves and limit our expectations of stuff they're going to be able to do because they have these conditions that we're working with. Now, as I kind of stated to earlier, slow and steady wins the race. We don't want a weekend warrior. We don't want somebody who hasn't gone out in months and then go run 10 miles. That's how you get hurt. That's how you injure yourself. That's how you start hating exercise. As you can tell in the PowerPoint, we have just a couple topics. I'm going to hit the top ones. Let's go with, increase physical activity gradually over time to meet key guidelines or health goals. So if you can't meet those health goals right away that we were talking about, which is fine, a lot of people can't, start out by doing half of it. Start out by doing a quarter of it. You can't just jump into it all at once. Slow and steady wins the race. It's all about slow progressions by little smart, accomplishable goals. A smart short goal that you can get done. For example, I want to be able to, walk 30 minutes without stopping, or 15 minutes. It's better to do that than saying I want to be able to run a mile, because running a mile is tough. A lot of people can't run a mile, but a lot of people, can walk for 15 minutes on a flat ground without stopping. And you need to make your goals to yourself. You need to take a step back and really look at, what is going on in your, in your physical life, in your body, and what you need to do. So again, inactive people should start slow and go slow by starting with lower intensity activities and gradually increasing. So again, slow and steady wins the race for starting back into physical activity. Now we're going to go with what all it can do. So there are benefits on benefits on benefits for physical activity. And I'm just going to hit some key ones. Okay. Some benefits we're going to start with are, like I said, active kids lead to active adults. Inactive kids lead to inactive adults. Start early. Start getting that habit formed early in those children, and it will continue through their lives. Studies have shown that it increases academic scores. Physical activity does. Physical activity makes you stronger, makes your heart healthier, makes you sleep better. Physical activity can help with weight control. It can boost energy. The big thing today is physical activity can fight and battle depression and anxiety, which so many people are dealing with in this country. And, we're seeing some good results and benefits from physical activity helping with depression, helping with anxiety, reducing those symptoms. Physical activity can also help lower blood cholesterol. It can help lower the chance of falls in the elderly. It can decrease chances of heart attacks. It can help with mood. It can even help with your brain chemicals. So we're seeing that exercise may also change levels in your brain, such as serotonin, endorphins, stress hormones, all these things that are that are hitting us every day, just from life and work. Exercise can help reduce all of those or increase the right ones. It can help lift your mood and develop your sleep patterns, which sleep is so important. So a lot of people think they have to go to the gym, they have to go do all this crazy stuff, and that kind of scares a lot of people, especially when they are just starting out in this physical activity journey that we're going on. And I just want to let people know that there's so much you can do from home now. Today's technology has changed the way we can exercise. I'm seeing, from YouTube commercials that have exercise on them, from, you can just type in on Google, on your phone, how to exercise at home, and you get millions and millions of listings. They also have, a majority of us have at least 1 to 10 people on Facebook who are exercise gurus and are giving out information and, are giving away free exercises and showing videos of free exercises, which, again, kind of check your source, make sure it's nothing crazy and follow your limits, but those are still kind of helpful guidelines and can show you what you can do from home. Another thing that's been progressing is if you don't like big heavy weights, and a lot of people don't, a lot of people just, they don't want to be huge, they don't want all these muscles, they just want to be fit. Exercise bands are the way to go. I have a picture or two in here of some exercise bands. I can also give you some resources of where to get them, but basically, it's no heavy weight. It's all resistance, which is good for, it's good for mobility, movement. It's good for muscles. You can get a lot of the same benefits, and it's not as hard as the body on joints, and you don't have to go to a gym. You can just do it all at home. So a little bit about myself is, again, my name is Cody McNulty. My education, I have a bachelor's in kinesiology from Kansas State University with emphasis in exercise physiology. So what that basically means is I went to school for a while and found out how people exercise and why they exercise and the importance of it on a real small level in the body. I also just recently am planning on graduating from Cleveland Chiropractic University in Kansas City with my doctor's of chiropractic degree. So again, that's another reason why that I'm here is I went to school again for a longer time learning about chiropractic and how to become a doctor of chiropractic, but as well as understand the human body, anatomy, physiology, physical therapy. I understand how the muscles work, all these different things. I've gone to school for a long time to figure out what's going on. So the main reason why I'm here is I'm just sharing to you the importance of physical activity. I want to shed some light on some confusing information, which I hope my PowerPoint does, and I also want some community involvement. I believe if everyone's out exercising, you're going to see each other more often, you're more likely to say hi people, friends, make friends, which makes people healthier. I also want to help any way that I can. I'm not just here for the chiropractic side of it. I just want to there's so much that we can benefit from just simple exercises like that, and if there's any way I can help or answer any questions for that, please let me know. Following my last slide's links to all my info. Again, you guys can have all this. This is just information from the internet. And at last, are there any questions? And finally, Dr. Cartwright, this last for you. I didn't really bring up the chiropractic side of it too much because I like the idea of going to a place and giving a talk about something and then mentioning that I'm a chiropractor and then having either the crowd ask a question like, oh, well, what can you do? Or having it brought up. I don't like to emphasize kind of what I can do and why I need you as a patient, because for me personally, whenever I go to a talk and someone do that, I automatically shut off. And so right now I'm kind of going along with that philosophy, and we're going to see how it treats me.